Same with barley swine. They ended up getting a star, and I ate there, and I was like, I told the like I was sitting there. I don't think it wasn't like the main chef. I don't know him, but it was maybe the sous chef or whoever was. I was sitting up the counter, and I did the tasting menu, but then they have a bunch of like add-on dishes, and I was like, the absolute runaway best dish, like I had to opt to add on. I was like, dude, if you guys did like a tasting menu and you included your best dishes, this is easily a 1-star. Because like I was like, how many people do you think come here and don't get the best dish on your menu?
Yeah.
And it was something like I want to say it was like a yogurt ravioli or something like. It wasn't like it was like truffles and caviar foie gras where you need to like charge way extra.
Was it known as their best dish, or
I don't know?
Was it just you? It was like
I've only eaten there once.
Okay.
It was actually I ate there by myself the night that I got my first star.
Sick.
I was like, I'm gonna treat myself to what everyone says is the best restaurant in town. So this was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like, everything was very good. But then when they brought me the supplement course, I was like, this is a world-class dish. Why is this not on your fucking menu?
That's so sick. I got to go try that spot. What is it called?
Barley swine.
Barley swine.
Yeah.
Sick.
Let's go. I haven't been back in 5 years, and now they have a star. So let's
go.
Yeah. Let's go check it out. Speaking of let's go, we ready? Last week was my turn.
Yep.
In the hot seat. This week is your turn. Thank you for being here and letting me sit in your comfy, cozy spot over here.
Thanks for having me.
I actually, I don't know if I actually listened back to our conversation last week.
Okay.
And I actually really liked just you and I.
Yeah.
And so I like the idea that like fresh off of that, we're going to turn it around.
Let's do this.
I'm ready. Because I feel like here's the thing. We've been friends for half a decade, right? Maybe longer. And we've opened restaurants together. We've traveled together. Our kids are growing up together. Our wives are best friends. We've spent so much time together, but I feel like in 5-6 years of friendship and spending hundreds of hours together, I feel like last week there's so much about me in my life that just doesn't come up in normal conversation.
For sure.
And so it really brought it, not even what was happening, but when I listened back to it, what brought into perspective to me is like, how much of your life do I not know? Because as I'm telling you stories, I'm like, oh shit, you don't know this.
Yeah. I feel like we tend to like live in the moment.
Yeah.
And we don't really like go through like, things that we've been, right? It's just like, what's going on today? What's happening here? What's happening there? And it's not so much of like, where'd you come from? Like,
exactly.
How did you get to this point? You know what I mean?
Because I know you as like, you're Neen the skateboarder, right? I know you as Neen the skateboarder, and then the things I've seen you do in the last 5 years. You knew me as Phillip the sushi chef, and then the things you've seen me do. But like, my adolescence, the things that happened, the fucking working in a mortgage company.
Those
aren't things
of that stuff.
I don't lead with that, So I'm very excited for today to learn more about my best friend. And kind of hear, the way you put it to me was, what's your origin story? So, tell me, what's your origin story?
Let's dig right in. So, I grew up in Chicago. Pilsen was it's like the neighborhood that I grew up in. My family basically all still lives in Pilsen.
Yep.
I grew up just, my dad left at maybe 2 years old, so I didn't really feel the impact of that. So I basically grew up with my mom and my stepdad, and that was basically my family. Then my mom also had 3 other daughters that are my sisters. So basically a house of women with my stepdad and myself. Very loving family, grew up normally, school, normal stuff, fighting back and forth with my sisters, but also, good times with that as well. I'm like one of the second oldest, right? So I have an older sister, and then the next one, and then I have 2 younger sisters. But it was always good times, you know, nothing but love. Like we're all very strong together, and we all have a great relationship together. But normal kid stuff as we were kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I didn't grow up skateboarding. I wasn't around skating or anything like that. I just went to school and played at the park and played tag and wrestled and this, that, and the other while I grew up. Only until probably like 13 years old, because we started in Pilsen, which is like a neighboring city, and then we moved to like Cicero and then Berwyn. And when I was in Berwyn, these are like in Chicago, these are like neighboring like suburbs that just kind of go out a little bit west, probably still 20, 30 minutes from downtown.
Yeah.
So once I was like 13, we lived in Berwyn. And when I was in that area, kids were skating because this is more of the suburbs. So it was just, I was around people that skateboarded, right? And I remember vividly like seeing them skate and seeing them do ollies and kick flips and stuff and being like, wow, that looks fun. Because I was always into kind of like, I was wild, you know, I would like to climb on stuff. I'd like to swing on ropes. I would always play like adventure where I'd wrap a rope around my waist and I'd throw it up on the Chicago's crazy because there's like levels to people's apartments, and there's like a front yard that is like a story down, and you could look over a fence and you could see their front yard.
Yeah, they're all like the basement properties.
Yeah, so I would throw a rope up on the fence all the way up there, and I would have a rope attached to me, and I would like mountain climb up the thing, right? So I was always like into like weird, crazy things like that. So I saw these kids skating, and I was like, you know, I want to try that. I want to, you know, I want to jump with the board on my feet. I want to flip the board. So I asked them, and they were like, yeah, come on through. And we, you know, they let me use their board. And as soon as I started to try to do tricks, I was super unbalanced and shit. I was like, this is sick. And I just kind of got hooked from there. So yeah, that's kind of how I started skateboarding. And that was like at 13, maybe 14 years old. And then
that's what, like 7th grade, 8th grade, something like that?
Yeah, I would say 7th, 8th grade. And then from there, it was just like something that I did day and night. Just every single day, I was like just completely obsessed with it. And I just wanted to learn more tricks. Like,
were you the kid that every day after school would go home and do like, just like in his, like in the driveway, do like 100 kick flips, 100 heel flips? I mean, once you could land stuff, but like, were you just skating by yourself, or was it more of like a group thing? Or
yeah, for me, it was more of a group thing. I feel like I was mainly with my crew at that point. And we were always just trying to learn new things. I wasn't really necessarily set on like repetition of things. It was just more so like, you do this trick, then you try this trick. It was skating kind of reminds me of like a video game in a way. Like you're just kind of like, it's the most freedom, like an RPG, right?
Yeah.
It's like the most freedom you've ever had because you're just going down the road and you see a bench. You could do a trick on that bench, or you can make a left and you could go down these stairs.
Yeah.
Or you could go right and there's a handrail over there.
Yeah.
Like, so there was like so many different options. Kind of bring you back to the beginning, like before I started skating. I was really into art forever. So I did a lot of like sketching. I actually got like a scholarship through school for winning some contests. So I was able to go to the Art Institute for a while.
That's awesome.
And I would do like sculpture classes and random things. Like I never really had like a goal in art. It was more so just like, I just liked creating things, you know? So I would do sculptures and random things. And I think skating kind of gave me that same relief that art did. You know, it was like you could create whatever you want.
Creating a line is artistic.
Yeah.
You know, you could pick 10 of your favorite skaters and give them the same like line, and they're going to, and don't show them what anyone else did. And they're going to do different things on the, you know, the little ledge and then the bank and then the forced air and then come to the big drop. Like everybody's going to have like put their own, and that's like that with cooking. Is like, if you give, you know, me, you, 5 other dudes, you know, 5 other chefs, you know, the same ingredients, we're not going to put out the same food. You know, so I think that makes a lot of sense in terms of like artistry. And I like the idea of obviously, you know, I like the idea of looking at it like a video game. But what you just said made me think of something I don't think I've thought of before, or at least not in a long time, which is the second you stand on a skateboard, the city streets become a map.
Yeah.
And all over the map are different side quest challenges.
Yep.
Right? So you can jump on the bus and go to the next city in the map, or you can just go down the street because there's things to do. Here's a mailbox there. There's a fire hydrant here. There's a crack over here. Or if you turn right, you know that the town gets sketchier, but they've got the cooler fucking ledge. You know, and then it made me think, but why does that have to be on a skateboard? Couldn't that just be any aspect of life? Like you step out into the world and you can walk into the bank and get a job. You can walk into McDonald's and get a job. You can go and try to, you know, apprentice at a tattoo shop. Like I kind of just think that, you know, the idea of approaching it like a video game does make it both fun and I think allows for a level of artistry that a lot of people feel like maybe their lives are somewhat mundane because they don't feel like they're an artist. Yeah. You know, because you don't have to put, I can't fucking color in the lines. I'm not an artist like that. I can't take photographs. I'm not an artist like that, but I can make music. I can cook, food, you know, other things. And so I doubt very many people think of skateboarding as artistry, but the way you just described it, it like clearly is.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're in charge of what you want to do, right? So I just got really hooked on, you know, learning new tricks and just getting as good as I can. I was never like, oh, I want to be a professional skateboarder someday. I want to do this. I want to live off of this. Like it was none of that was like something that I saw or that I like really wanted. I just wanted to skate. I just wanted to do tricks. I wanted to like perform my art and just, you know, have fun with it. And then as the years went by, I just got like better and better at it. But I was never like naturally talented.
Yeah.
Like everything that I learned was like I had to put in a lot of time and effort and blood and sweat and tears into it, you know. So it was, I always like refer to myself as just like a blue collar skateboarder or a blue collar person, you know. It's like everything that I do, it's like it's a grind, it's hard, it's tough, but you know, I look at it and I just stay positive, and I know that if I just keep on going, it'll eventually work out, you know. It's like you have to put yourself out there, and you have to just put in the time and the work, and things will eventually kind of fall together, you know.
Where do you get this sort of like Zen, almost like laissez-faire kind of like attitude and approach to things? Because like what you just described is the absolute opposite of me. Absolute opposite. I remember the first time I did a nose stall, I was like, I'm going to get fucking sponsored, right? Everything I ever tried that I loved, I was like, I'm going to be the best, or I'm going to turn this into a living, or I'm going to, now I never did anything for the money, but like immediately I was like, video games, I'm going to be a professional video game player. I'm going to be a professional sushi chef. I'm going to be a professional, say that enough, one of them will happen, or a couple of them. But where do you think that sort of like, yo, just want to fucking do my art, like where does that kind of come from?
I feel like if I think back, when I was younger, there would be things that like I really wanted, and like I was like, oh, this is gonna happen. Like maybe you're in a contest, or you did a piece of art in some contest and you really wanted to win first place. You're like, oh yes, like I gave it everything I got. Like it's definite. Like I'm definitely gonna win this one. And it was like I was like overly confident in winning. And then when I wouldn't win, I felt like it was almost like it was almost something that you're like predisposed to lose because you're way too confident and you don't have any butterflies in your belly. So every time that I was way too confident, I felt like I lost all of those contests, all of those things that I really wanted. And then it did something in my mind where it was like, if you don't fully like devote yourself into this thing where you're like, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna do this, and I like pull myself back and I like give it more of like an aloof, like I'm just gonna do the best that I can do, and if I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. It's okay. At least I tried the best that I can possibly try, you know? And I feel like when I started thinking that way and approaching things that way, then I started winning and things started working, right? So it was like I had to pull it could be like an ego thing, right? I had to pull the ego back and be like, no, like you can't be overly confident that you're going to win, and then approach it with more of an aloof approach of like, maybe I'll win, maybe I won't, but I'll just do my best and see how it goes. And then things started winning. So like, it was just like, it was, I guess I could point it towards like, maybe like mental trickery to myself, right? Is like, you still approach it confident, but you want to kind of, you want to still have,
you want to use reverse psychology on the universe?
Use reverse. Yes, exactly. So use reverse psychology on the universe, on yourself.
Yeah.
And things would usually end up the way that you want it to end up.
Yeah. That's that. I'm always so jealous of you for so many things, and a lot of it is like your ability to go like, you're like, you remind me of the dude, you know, just like, and you're like,
I got some dude in me.
yeah, and you know, because I'm always like, this will be, you know, I'm always trying to make it the best and the biggest, and
but I think that's why we work so well together.
Yeah,
you know, we're like opposite ends, you know, on how we approach things, and then we meet in the middle.
Yeah, but we both have found like, and that's what's cool about like, we've both found success in our own fields with wildly different approaches.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing that we share is the blue collar, work hard, do your best, don't give up.
Yeah, nothing ever just happens, right? It's like you have to keep showing up. You have to wake up, you have to show up, you have to give it everything you got, and you have to work hard. Obviously there are cases, I'm not going to say like definitely nothing ever just happens, right? There are cases where things just happen, right? And those are great stories and those are awesome times, but you know, for the majority of people, you have to work hard.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what it is, you know? And it's like, you can spend your time being pissed off at other people that are making it and doing good in life and in your eyes, right? But like, that's a waste of time. Like, just focus on you, do you, help others go up, and we all help each other and we all win, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of like my whole motto. It's like, don't waste your time. Like, just do the best that you can do and just keep on going, and then help others while you're going, and you know.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very healthy and smart approach. I mean, like we were talking about, you know, how those guys sued me, and I used all of after I, you know, was done crying and feeling bad for myself and being depressed, I used all of the energy of wanting to kill them to be like, I'm going to put all that energy into building my own future, you know? And sometimes, you know, it's just so much more beneficial to channel angst, to channel anger, to channel frustration into something positive, you know? And for me, that was just cooking, and cooking more and expanding more and doing more. So anyway, so you, getting back to your story. So, we kind of left off where you're like, 14, 15, and, you were doing like art. Well, I guess you were talking about going to college, right? So now
No, I wasn't going to college. I actually
the Art Institute was,
it was just like a summer programs and stuff I would go. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would just go take art classes, basically just while I was like young.
Yeah.
And I would just take art classes, and it was like a fun thing I would do on the weekend. My aunt would actually like take me every weekend on the train, the Blue Line, to Art Institute, and like we'd get a little snack in the morning. It was sick, you know. She's awesome for that. But yeah, so I was kind of just like referring to like skating as being an art in that form. But basically, yeah, I just continued to skate and skate and skate every single day. I was obsessed. I skated so much to the point to where I missed a lot of days in school, which ended up being a problem. So it was around.
That's called skipping school, by the way. That's not you were too busy skateboarding. Is that
what it's called? So it was around the time that I was getting my license, actually. And it's funny because I always like say this is the reason why I stopped going. But I would go to school. I had to get my license, right? And I missed so many days of school because I would go far out in the suburbs and like go skate with my friends out there. And then I'm 2 hours away. I can't get to school in time, you know? And I would just miss school. And you were only allowed to miss a certain amount of classes to get your driver's license. And I like surpassed that by so many. And the only way to make it up is you had to go to school even earlier. Like you could only make it up in the morning. And we started school like super late or super early already. So it was like you had to go there at like 4 or 5 a.m. And I was like, I'm not going to school at that time, you know? So I basically, you know, I couldn't get my license, couldn't make it up. So I was like, all right, well, I'm kind of over going to school, which obviously I'm not. I'm not saying, hey, kids, don't go to school. I'm saying, hey, kids, please finish school because it's the easiest thing you can do. Just finish school, get your diploma, get your all the stuff that you get with school, just get it done, right? Because in the future, you are probably going to need it, you know? But I stopped going to school. My mom wasn't too stoked on that, but it is what it is, right? And I just continued to skate, right? Because this is what I love to do. The whole time my mom was really she wasn't supportive of me not going to school, but she was really supportive of me skateboarding, right? And she wasn't really like, oh, you're grounded, like you can't skate, blah blah blah. Like she was always just like, yeah, he likes to skate, he's filming his video parts, you know, he's like he's really enjoying this. And my mom she's such a beast, you know, like I'm so stoked that she's always like supported me in all the things that I wanted to do without like being like, you know, something to like steer me the wrong way. So she always let me kind of do me and kind of learn from example, learn from like what's happening around me. And she let me skate. So I just kept skating and, you know, things kind of started working out. Like I got like a shop sponsor. From the shop sponsor, I got like Rep Flow.
How did you get your first shop sponsor?
Just skating around with the people that were from the shop.
Yeah.
That's normally like how things would work back then was like, and even now to this day, it's like if you want to get on a company, if you want to be sponsored or backed by a company, like the company and the people that are already the existing riders need to kind of be into you. Yeah. Right? Because it's a family. You're going into a family thing. So it's like if you're, you know, the best skater in the world, but you're a shithead and you go into a van of these guys that all get along and you're just, you know, butting heads with everybody, your chances are you're probably not getting on the team, you know? And that's kind of how it rolls, you know, with skateboarding at least. So yeah, I got on the shop, and then from the shop I got Rep Flow, which is like each skate shop, boring you guys with a bunch of skate talk, but each skate shop, I have a feeling that most people listening to this actually care. Each skate shop basically has like a rep that reps a certain company, and then that guy can give the skate shop free product for any particular rider to help represent the brand and help, you know, future skaters kind of climb the ladder.
So you're almost riding for everyone at that moment. Or you could be riding for everyone.
Like, what do you mean?
I mean, like, from what I understood you just said is like, whatever your local skate shop is, they're going to have a rep who sells them these 5 brands, a rep who sells them these 5 brands. Yeah. And that rep can be like, yo, I want that dude on your team to wear or skate these.
Pretty much. Yeah. Right. But it's like the rep will have like a couple brands that he or she won't have like only like 5 brands of shoes. It'll be like a brand of shoes. Maybe they do clothing. Maybe they do this. So it's like you could kind of go under their whole umbrella. Yeah. Or they'll take you for one thing, and then you just get another thing. You get another thing. But through the rep, now you have access to more of the industry because now you could give the rep your video parts and everything that you're making, all
Yeah.
the skating that you've been doing, any magazines you get into, you could give that to the rep. The rep could then go back to his connection in the industry
Yeah.
of the actual company and then give them the tape or whatever. And that's kind of how you climb the ladder.
And is that how that kind of happened for you?
Yeah, but the only hard thing with that was like I was way in Chicago and the industry was based where you are back
Yeah.
in California,
Yeah.
you know, or where you were, where you grew up
Yeah.
back in California. So at that time, anyone that wanted to pretty much anyone, there was obviously some caveats to that wanted to make it in skating had to go be in California because that's where the families were. That's where the crews were. So they weren't going to put you on a team fully if they don't know who you are, what you do. And then there's landmarks around LA or California in general that like if you do a hard trick on that
Yeah.
spot,
It means something.
it means something. Whereas at home, the spot could be twice as big, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything because no one's ever been to it.
El Toro means something where the random Pilsen college staircase doesn't.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. So like that's just how the game was, you know, at that time. So, you know, I did like 22 so, you know, I had my sponsors and then at 22 I actually tore my first ACL. So I was like we filmed tons of video parts.
Were you pro yet or just still sponsored?
I was still just sponsored. Yeah, like I was getting the local brand affiliate skateboards, Chicago local brand. I was getting boards from them, and they were kind of like giving me a little money as well, which was helping me out at that point survive. You know, because I'm a young adult at this point.
Yeah,
you know?
at 22, you need to you need to live.
Yeah, but it's crazy. It's a trip because like a lot of people don't understand how much money that like most skaters or some skaters live off of. Like I was living off of like $250 a month. That's it, you know.
Were you just staying on someone's couch or?
Staying on couches,
Yeah.
you know, friends let you stay over there, other pros that have houses that, you know, make
Yeah.
a skate house, whatever, or we all just kind of chip in in an apartment and we're just like piled on the couches and the
Yeah.
floors and whatever.
Eating off the value menu.
Dude, the value menu, whatever we can do, right? We're just, you know, mainly like spend most of your money on, it would be like booze and weed and a burrito, you know, like that was your
In that
spend.
order?
in that order. Yeah. Liquid diet, right? So around 22, I was still in Chicago and we were filming our video parts. Like I would always film video parts. That's just what I wanted to do. It was like my art. So we're filming video parts and there's this, normally my process is warm up at the skate park, do the trick that you want to film on like a handrail or a set of stairs a couple times that week. I think when P-Rod was on the show, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
But I would do the same thing. And then when I heard that he did it, I really doubled down on it,
Yeah.
you know? So I would do the trick. So I was doing a nollie crook, which is like you pop your board backwards and you like grind down the nose kind of down this handrail. Did it at the skate park a couple times. And I was like, all right, let's go. We went to this handrail. And this is my first real like bad injury. You know? So this rail's against a wall and it lands like that normal Chicago thing where I told you it goes down below to the basement kind of way and it goes into a door. So I was like, and I was doing a nollie crook and I nollied at the rail and like I hit the rail, but the rail like grinded super fast and it just shot out. And then everything kind of just went black. Like I hit the ground normally, but everything went black and I just felt an awkward sensation in my right leg, my leading leg. And I was like, all right, that didn't feel right. And like, as I got up, I was like, all right, something feels weird. And like what ended up, I was like, all right. So I tried to like kind of kick it off as I was walking away and like, I could just feel like the
that's not right.
detachment. Yeah.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh fuck. Like I did something to my knee, you know? And I
Was
like,
that your
"It's
first
over."
try on the rail?
Yeah. First try. Yeah. And it just blink of an eye, you know, like it just boom, done. And I'm really good at nollie crooks. Like I was dialed in. I was locked in, you know? So that happened. And, you know, ACL injuries are just basically when your knee kind of comes in, right? So if you land, you're going forward and you land and your knee kind of goes in backwards, and that's what usually snaps it.
Ugh.
So it's like it was just a freak accident, you know.
Yeah.
Most gnarly bad slams are always a freak accident in skateboarding. So freak accident, boom, ACL blown out, 22 years old, super bummed, you know, like
Yeah.
I'm just getting to the point where I have like real flow sponsors from real companies in LA now. I've passed like the rep flow and everything, the rep sponsorships. I'm on the real companies, but I'm just getting flow. I'm not on the teams.
Yeah.
And
Flow meaning they're not paying you money, but they're giving you gear.
yeah, they're giving me gear. They don't announce me as on the team, but
Yeah.
I'm like a fully set up person.
Yeah.
Just not on the team,
Yeah.
you know. So then basically, you know, I go to the doctor, get this ACL reconstruction surgery at 22. I think they use my patellar or my hamstring or whatever they did at that time. I'm 40 years old. This is a long time ago. So we get it reconstructed, and no one tells you that, like, you think the injury itself did not even hurt. It was just like, what up? Something's wrong, you know, like it did not hurt. And then like at night, my knee blew up and it was big as shit and like a watermelon, you know, and then got the surgery. And then the weeks after the surgery are the most painful thing because they get in there and they whatever they do, you know, they like put a piece of your whatever into there and like connect it up. And you're just sitting there and you have to use this like machine that like bends your knee, or if your insurance doesn't pay for that machine, you have to do it yourself, which is the absolute most painful thing in the world.
Did you have insurance?
I don't think so. Or maybe
Did you have the machine?
maybe I was on my mom's. I don't even know. But the first one I did not have the machine, and I had to do it all by myself. Like I had to bend it, and I would, you know, my mom thankfully would help me with like some physical therapy. So I'd take like maybe 1 or 3 classes a week or something. And we would basically, you know, they would give me stuff like homework to do at home, you know, and in my mind, I was just like, I was so young. I was like, you know, I'm going to just be the best that I can be. I'm going to do all this rehab. I'm going to get full range of motion, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to skate stronger than ever, you know? So that was like what kept me going. And I just literally had like some ankle weights and like a couple random like bands and shit. And I would just sit there and just do my shit every day and jump rope and this, that, and the other. And I eventually,
how long were you out for?
I was out for, I mean, dude, ACLs like back then, 20 years ago or so, or 18 years ago, that shit was like pretty intrusive, the surgery. And then it took like maybe 9 months to a year to be able to like roll on my skateboard.
A year before you could even roll.
Yeah. Like back then it was like a long time, you know?
Wow.
So to be able to roll, and then you're able to roll, and then like shit starts to kind of come back pretty fast. But the key is like you don't push it, because right when you're able to like, what sucks is like after like 3 months, you feel normal. And then you just have to wait for another 9 months or so until you're able to row, you know, like, so it was just, it was very painful and it was very sad, but I had these like sponsors and I was like pretty high up in the flow category that, you know, just wanting to continue to pursue skateboarding was really big for me. So I was like, I'm just going to keep on pushing. I'm going to keep on doing the best that I can do. And, you know, eventually I'll be able to skate again and I'll get back from this. So I just, you know, I had that mindset locked in. I was dialed in, and I just kept doing things that I can do to, you know, get back into it. And
Yeah, what did you do that year?
I mean, I just trained, you know, I trained as much as I can. And then on my off days, I mean, this was still when I was young. So I would just like smoke and chill and eat and relax, you know. I didn't really do much, you know. Luckily I had, you know, my local sponsorship from affiliate. They would give me a little paycheck, and that check would help me survive for that time, you know. But basically that was the first kind of like roadblock with skating and the first like major injury. I got through it. It was a hard road and I just took my time. And then at the end of it, when I started to skate again, that's when I got a one-way ticket and then was just like, all right, like if I'm going to be skating and I'm going to be doing this, I have these flow companies. They say I have to be in LA. Like I just got a one-way ticket and I flew to LA and I was like, all right, let's just go for it, you know? So yeah, like I got to LA and I was still, this was after the year and I'm like able to roll around again and like do a couple of tricks. I get there and I'm like fresh. And my friend, Trapasso, takes me in and lets me like stay on his couch for like a few years basically. And I just literally like, from there, it's like I slowly get better and better and better. And then I start like filming like good skating again. And I start building right back up, you know? So it was like, it was pretty crazy. You know, that was like the first thing that could have stopped me way back in the day. And I just, you know, I was just locked in. I was like, no, I'm not gonna let this take me down, you know?
So at 13, 14, you were never thinking about being pro or making money off of it. I have to imagine at the point where you're, you know, when you tear your ACL, you're 22, you now have a taste of, I mean, you're making a living off of it, $250 a month, not a good living, but
enough to be happy.
Reminds me of being a young touring, you know, drummer.
Yeah.
But how much of it in your mind was like, obviously, if you are going to continue forward down this path, clearly you must have at that point been looking at the real possibility of like, if I'm going to like, because I think if I was to break something, I would have to take some inventory and be like, this is dangerous. What I do is dangerous. Yes, I love it, but I'm getting older. And even at 22, you think you're old, right? You think you're getting older and you're like, is this worth it? Right? Am I going to be able to do something with this? Was there any of that cross your mind, or was it still just like, I love to skateboard?
I feel like, you know, I was very naive in that sense where I was just like, I just want to skate.
Yeah.
You know, I was having a good time skating and this is where my life was at the point. So I was just like, I just want to skate. And, you know, there was no kind of looking back. It's like, this is what I'm doing. Like things were starting to fall together. I had like kind of real sponsors at that point. I was making a little bit of money from it and I was like, I just want to skate. So I'm just going to continue to push. So I went to LA and then just continued to push and like met, it was all like, you know, like I said, back to the beginning, blue collar, trying hard, not the best skater, but just I tried hard all the time. I did my best, you know, and I think, you know, just running into the right people, you know, vibing with the right people, things just started falling together. And that's kind of how my skate career was like kind of built back then. You know, it was just right place, right time, hard work ethic, and just, you know, I always, you know, my one thing is always like, treat people with respect, you know, never judge a book by its cover. And, you know, if someone treats you with disrespect or like, you know, doesn't like you for the way you look or for how you dress or whatever, like just walk the other way. You know what I mean? I was never like an open conflict kind of dude. You know, my ego doesn't get hurt if I turn around and walk away. You know, I'm just like, whatever. like, enjoy yourself.
The dude.
You know, yeah. But, you know, it's not my problem. That's your problem. So I just walk the other way.
It's a healthy mindset. I wish I had, I have more of it now, but I didn't when I was 22.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think I just, you know, it naturally happened, you know, just from, like I said, my mom, she gave us the most love that a mom can give, you know. She, I think, led by example, you know. I think at 18, she was diagnosed with some kind of disorder thing that basically her immune system started fighting itself, right? And she was like paralyzed for like a little bit at like 18. So she like didn't get to like experience like a regular adult life, you know? So, but some of her nerves came back and she was able to use like her arms and stuff and her legs. But since then she was like kind of in a wheelchair or with a brace, you know? And I think growing up and like seeing her kind of like seeing her, you know, navigate through this world and push through this world and be like such a strong motivating like power in my world has just kind of, you know, given me kind of a different outlook of the world, you know?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, looking at your mom, who obviously you have, you know, an immense amount of love and respect for, seeing how hard she has it, yet she doesn't give up, that has to rub off on you like tremendously. Because, you know, fuck, I could not imagine what life would be like if I lost the ability to move around, you know?
Yeah, just thinking of that, like,
Yeah.
gets me, like, bummed, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, she's, like, very, very, very strong, and I think that kind of gave me a different look on the world and a different way to be, you know? So I always just try to treat everybody with love, and
and you can see the world's fragile.
yeah, exactly. It's like one moment you can be fine and then the next moment you're not, you know? So it just kind of teaches you kind of a respect of like enjoy the things that you have, and, you know, appreciate them, right? And appreciate the people around you, you know?
Were you alive when this happened or not yet?
Not yet. No, I came later.
So
Yeah.
almost your whole life, your mom has had that.
Yeah, my whole life. Yep. So yeah, I mean, obviously as a kid, it's like you don't understand it, but
Yeah.
as you get older, you really see it for what
Yeah.
it is, and you really respect it, you know?
I think as a kid you might not see it, but you still like you feel it. You just don't understand what you're feeling. I would imagine.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I mean, we're going to fast forward a little bit of the story, but she hit me up the other day and she asked me, like, why did you feel the need to, like, do drugs and party super hard? And I never really thought of it because I was like, you know, I texted her back and I was like, you know, I do not come from a broken home, and you know this, you know, like, I come from a very loving home, very caring home, but I think the reason why I got into like super heavy alcohol use and drug use was because I just had a good time doing it, like partying, right? It wasn't like I wasn't sad, I wasn't in like a dark hole, I wasn't depressed, I wasn't like, there was none of these things that usually most times lead people down a dark path. It was like I was just like very positive, happy, and it just enhanced the party for me at that moment. You know? So I think it made me really think, and I was like, all right, this is kind of this can be good to kind of say on the show. It's like, you don't have to have a problem to have a problem.
Yeah.
You know
We've
what
talked
I
about
mean?
that with my gambling.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, you don't have to have a problem to have a problem. It's like, you may think that you're having a good time and you're, I'm positive, like I'm having a great time, but you have a problem.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened. And, you know, sadly, it went so far to where, you know, I definitely had some scares of like, you know, not waking up the next day. You know what I mean? So it definitely went bad for like, I would say a time of like 2 to 3 years.
What age was that around?
This was
Because we got you moving to LA around 23, right?
22.
22.
This was like 25.
Okay.
So 22, it's like I'm on my own. I'm in Long Beach. The parties start getting harder and harder. We start, you know, 30, even though I'm making 250, staying on the couch, it's like 30 cases, bop, 30 racks. We're drinking, we're smoking, heavy parties. You start just really enjoying the party because skating is super hard, but the celebration after is super easy.
Yeah.
And I have a very like extreme personality when it comes to certain things that like it's like if we're gonna drink a beer, let's finish that whole 30-pack. Let's order another 30-pack. Like what else can we do, you know? And then drugs would also add on that because now you're not super drunk and blacked out after a 30 case. Like you're back alive. Like you could do another 30 or 2 and you could stay up so much more hours, you know? So it was just like, it was like a party enhancer, right? And I just fell into it, you know, and my peers were doing it and we were all kind of just doing it together. And, you know, once you get into that, you attract more people that are into that. And then you just have a whole crew of doing that kind of stuff and it's just normal to you, you know? But yeah, I took it really, really, really far. This was like 25 years old.
Were you pro at this point or not yet?
I turned pro, I think 25, 26, somewhere right around there, probably 26. So 25, I was like fucking up. Like this was the first year where it was like I was really going heavy and I was fucking up. I was living in Hollywood at the time. And then, you know, everyone like, it was my birthday and everyone called me down to the bar, which that's where I spent most of my time unless I was skating. So I went down to the bar. I was like, oh shit, like this is, I don't know what's going down, you know? And like everyone's there, like the whole company. And then, you know, we're all partying, we're having a good time. And then they surprised me with a board. And I was like, oh, what? No way. I was like, damn, I thought, you know, like I felt like everyone was like bummed on me, you know? So it kind of sparked something in me and I started, you know, skating hard again.
Why'd you think everyone was bummed on you?
Well, because I was kind of fucking up. Like I was just drinking. I was partying a lot at the time. So it was just like.
Was that interfering with your quote unquote job?
Like I would skate and I would get tricks, but I wasn't skating as much, you know? So you always, whenever you're not skating as much, you get guilt, right?
Yeah. I get that with not cooking as much.
Yeah, you get guilt. So it's like something that you're known for doing and you're not doing it enough, you just get guilt. So I just had this like internal feeling that everyone was bummed on me. But you know, I like I said, blue collar, I put in a lot of work. A lot of things came out and things just worked out to where they dubbed me a professional skateboarder at that point. I was super excited and that kind of lit a fire under me, but I was still, you know, in the party, right? And that continued for like 2 more years. And then, like I said, it got really heavy to where I had a couple scares, unfortunately. And that didn't fix anything. Like I just kept going because I'm extreme and fried like that.
Are you down to talk about the actual scares or you want to leave it at
I mean, just usual, you know, heart racing kind of things where you're just like, I don't know.
Something's wrong.
Yeah, something's wrong, kind of thing. But yeah, I've had a few where I was just like, oh, yep, that's not, you know, and then obviously like, you like force yourself to sleep. Eventually you pass out and you know, thankfully I woke up the next day, you know? So like I lucked out in that case, right? We'll knock on that. I don't even know if that's wood, but, basically from there I kept those scares didn't slow me down or anything. I kept skating, kept doing my thing. And then 28, I tear my second ACL. Boom, you know, like 28, nearing the end of like kind of like I'm older now, like a lot of new kids are coming in and I'm like, all right, like there goes my career, you know? And at this point I'm making a good amount of money, no longer $250 a month, but not like some crazy, like a lot of people, the way that they, you know, obviously I don't really read much comments, but you know, people just assume pro skaters are like these like they're making some football money or something. It's like no. Like we're probably making.
There's a couple, I imagine.
There's a couple, yeah, for sure. You know, but not all cases are the same.
Yeah.
Especially like, you know, a blue collar. You know, so basically you're making some money and you're happy. Tear my second ACL, boom, and then at this point, this is right around the time I met my wife now, Jess. You know, I'm like, all right, and she knows moderation. She comes from a very loving family, and she isn't really into all the alcohol and drug use, you know, and me and her would get into it here and there with that. And, you know, I tear this second ACL and I'm like,
Same leg or separate leg?
separate leg.
Okay.
Right. And I'm like, okay, like, here we go. Another 9 to 12 months of rehabilitation. So I go get it fixed. And the sad part here was I was making some decent money, kind of like the most that I made from skating at this point. And that sponsor, my contract was up like 2 months after my ACL reconstruction. That sponsor just didn't re-sign me. So at this point, I'm like, oh man, like I could barely make my half of rent and put some food on the table at this point, you know? And I'm like, oh, this is a bummer, right? Like I'm really sweating. And basically I just, you know, lock in and I'm doing my physical therapy, and social media is around right here. So I have to thank social media for everything. Also my wife, because my wife she definitely put the pressure on me to like clean up, you know, and she actually.
Because you were still drinking and partying when you hurt yourself.
I hurt myself up to that. Yeah, I was drinking and partying when I hurt myself.
And then after you get the surgery, are you still drinking at all?
No, so yeah, I skipped over that part. So after I did the surgery, I told myself that I wasn't going to drink or party anymore. I'm just going to.
Why?
Because I heard somewhere, probably saw it on social media, that you heal faster if you're not drinking and like on your leg the whole time partying.
That's what we were talking about this morning. Or
Yeah.
The very first thing we talked about today.
Yeah, so your body, your system only has to focus on healing whatever's injured instead of like trying
Metabolizing the alcohol.
Yeah, trying to get the alcohol out of you, right? So I was like, I'm just gonna not drink so I could heal better and stronger. I'm 28, so that's already bad on my side, right? Age doesn't help, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna quit drinking, I'm gonna quit smoking, I'm gonna quit partying, and I'm just gonna heal up from this injury and come back as strong as I can. And then I had my support system, which was my wife, Jess. She was like, all right, I'll quit too with you, you know, which was a blessing in disguise, right? So she was the only person that I hung out with for the first few weeks to months. And we just chilled in our house. I had the little machine because I had insurance now. So that was bending my leg. And we didn't drink. We just went to the movies and we ate good dinners and we did stuff like that. And that like really gave me the foundation that I needed to build a strong will and stay away from like drugs and alcohol. And while I was sober, I will get into what I'm doing kind of now. So while I cleaned up, I was like, I want to be the strongest and the best that I can be so I can continue to do this thing that I love for many more years to come. So I stopped drinking, I stopped smoking, and I started going to physical therapy. And I have like I have a lot of energy. So I was like, all right, I do my leg workouts and I would ask my physical therapist, like, give me something for upper body. Like I can't go home like this. I have too much energy.
Yeah.
Like I need to be like beat down to where I'm like I just relax and I watch TV. So they'd give me like some chest and some triceps and some back, and I would do that workout, and that like filled the void that I needed at that point. And I would do this a few times a week. And little by little, I got more and more into like strengthening myself and weight training to enhance my overall performance and have longevity.
Had you ever done or been into strength training or lifting weights or anything prior to that?
I mean, I would do push-ups and pull-ups, like normal dude things, you know, here and there, like push-up.
But you weren't going to the gym and doing bench presses?
No, not at all. All over myself. No, not at all. Like I would just do push-ups and pull-ups, fun with friends, little contests. And then like I just kind of got into it because I saw kind of what it can do. And it's, you know, it's facts. It's like you strength train, you train with weights, it enhances performance. You know what I mean? Obviously there's caveats to that, right? Like if you're training to enhance your performance, you're training in a certain way to enhance performance, that's not going to necessarily make you better at the sport that you're doing or skateboarding. You have to skateboard to get better at skateboarding.
Yeah.
But
having stronger legs will make you pop higher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, having stronger legs, having more muscle to support your knees, you know what I mean? Like be more explosive, you know, like absorb more impact. There's like so many different things, like increase your sprint, your your jumping capability. So yeah, I was just like, I got really into it. And I started taking certifications because I was like, I want to understand how to use a barbell like to my highest ability. I want to understand like how to use kettlebells. I want to understand how to use, you know, and I just wanted to like learn as much as I can so I could be my own coach. Because like the more that I know, the better my results were going to be, you know, and that was like my whole mindset towards it. So I just started taking certifications, taking courses, little by little over this like 9 to 12 month span before I got back into skateboarding. And I was like, I got hooked. I got obsessed, just like skating. I got obsessed, you know?
Well, you traded drinking and partying for fitness and wellness, it seems like.
Exactly. Traded it up and I got obsessed into this instead of drinking and partying. And then from there, you know, with that, obviously like the diet and the training go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So it was like, obviously I was eating pizza and whatever the hell I wanted to eat, but like I also started to understand that if you wanted to, like your body is a machine, and you don't want to put a bunch of junk into your car.
Yeah.
It's going to drive like shit.
Yeah.
You know, like you want to put like the best stuff in your car. You want to make sure it gets its oil changes, it's micronutrients, it's macronutrients, and it's going to drive really good forever.
Yeah.
And that's what your body is, right? You don't get another body. Like a car, you could lease another car if you want to, but your body, you only have one.
Yeah.
So you have to take care of it, you know, and it doesn't have to be this serious, like bummer thing. It just has to be something that it's like brushing your teeth, right? It's like if you don't brush your teeth, your teeth fall out. You have no teeth. You got to get some fake teeth. Like that's just what it is, you know? But your body, you can't really get a fake body. So you have to kind of take care of it, right? So I just really got into it. And I was like, the whole, you know, I have to go back to this is like everything that happened organically, but it came because of skateboarding. So I'm like forever in debt to skateboarding, right? So because I wanted to skate forever, I got into fitness, you know, because I wanted to, you know, just be at my optimal performance for many more years. I started training. I started to focus on nutrition. I started to learn. I started to educate myself. And the more that I knew, the more I knew I didn't know. So I had to keep educating myself. And that brings me to today, 12 years later, right? 40 years old now. It's like I'm still educating myself on there's just new stuff that comes up every day. You know, it's like anyone that says they know everything to you is a liar. Like it's like, I'm sorry, you know, it's just, there's so much out there that you can't know everything, you know?
It's also like you can read reports that say the opposite of each other.
Yeah.
You know,
that too.
And so we always talk about this because, you know, we'll talk about nutrition or whatever. And I'll have an opinion based on something. You'll be like, well, that's actually not,
but it's all
how
like,
it goes.
and it's all, you know, you got to take everything with a grain of salt too, because whatever the research points to today, tomorrow another paper could come out that contradicts that research, right?
Yeah.
So it's all a grain of salt. But like I think it's nice to know like what the research is, the current research, and then kind of like base your opinions off of like what your experience is, right? You know, so like that's always gonna, I feel like, triumph the research. It's like,
well, you're always your best test subject.
Exactly.
Because you're going to believe yourself. If you feel better doing whatever, then you should be doing that thing. You know, whether or not it says, you know, that's the right move.
Yeah. So I think, wait, where am I going? Oh yeah. So I got into the training, and from the training, I created NADC spice rubs. Yeah. Because I started to make basically cleaner foods, like whole foods. I wanted to make whole foods taste better. And when I say whole foods, I mean like chicken, beef, pork, fish,
broccoli, spinach.
Spinach.
Things that whole foods, meaning things that have not yet been processed into something else.
Exactly.
Ingredients.
Ingredients, right? Yeah. So I wanted to make those taste better. So just clean, basic meals. And I started just like, seasoning my chicken. I'd put like 6 different seasonings, and I made a YouTube video, and everyone started to make this chicken that I made, and they're like, wow, this chicken is like really good, And then my wife actually came to me and she was like, hey, like you should make your own rubs because people like this, and forever, skateboarding. It's like with skateboarding, professional skateboarding, it's like you're basically a professional marketer. You're marketing someone else's companies for them to sell stuff and make money, right? You only get a small little royalty of that. So I was like, all right, let me dive into this and figure this out. So me and Jess, my wife, sat down and like watched a bunch of YouTubes, did some research, figured out how to make spice rubs and kind of like manufacture them and all that. So we called a couple manufacturers, companies that have been doing it, partnered up with one. They started making my spice blends that like I really wanted to create. And then I started selling those off of my website, Neen Williams Co. And just, selling them from my Instagram. And it was like my first ever business outside of skateboarding. That was just me and not
it wasn't someone else. You weren't promoting someone else's business.
Yeah. So it felt really good to me. And like I said, at the time, money was like not going as well. I wasn't like making a ton of money. So it was like a really cool boost. And on the other side, because I was promoting all of this like health and nutrition and fitness, I caught the eye of like other really big companies in like health and fitness and food and stuff. And that's kind of like was my saving grace, and where I said like I owe it to social media, where people like to say social media is kind of like a curse. It was actually a gift to me because I was promoting my workouts. I was promoting like my training and my healthy food and stuff. And then I got hit up by big companies, and I got like really big partnerships that ended up, boosting my life further than skating has ever boosted my life. And from there, I just continued to do the things that I did, but also continued to skate. And it just kind of like took off from there, like that's when I met you. We decided to do a partnership and create NADC burger. Right. And then we used my spice rubs on the burger. So like everything kind of came from the spice rubs, came from the injury from skating, and came from the thought of trying to be the best that I can be, Yeah.
I mean, if you don't tear your ACL at 28, we're not sitting at this table.
Exactly.
Right.
Well,
maybe you're at a bigger table. Maybe you're at a better table.
Well, maybe I'm at no table at all.
Could be.
And I'm in the ground.
Could be.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I think of it as. It's like I had a choice, and I could have kept going on that road, and that road may have led me into somewhere that I would not have been stoked on being right now.
Do you feel like you had a choice, or do you feel like the universe or the world just led you in this direction?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one, because I feel
obviously you thought about different options and you chose which way to go, but how much of it was like you were guided in a direction versus just because I mean that's a big change of life, right? Now, luckily, as you mentioned earlier, you didn't drink to disappear.
Yeah,
you didn't have, so like you weren't. I'm gonna say I don't think you were an alcoholic, right?
I'm gonna say that too, because it's like
just because you fucking love doing something doesn't make you an alcoholic.
And I wasn't like, I feel like I wasn't so deep into it to where I was like really fucking things up.
Yeah,
I was
like I feel like when you say like I chose this path, and the reason I phrased it in the way that I did is if you were an alcoholic, you would have to choose a different path because you'd have to battle demons for a long time to get away from the thing to go towards the light.
Yeah.
Right? So when I'm listening to it with my video game hat on, it's like the whole ride that you've been on is taking you in this direction, and the fact that, and it almost feels to me listening to your story that that's just the next chapter,
Yeah.
Not so much that you looked at your life and said, I got to make a change. And maybe you did because you're still living your life.
Yeah. No,
But
I did look at it, but it did, like you said, it did kind of like throw me onto this path.
it presented itself.
Yeah, like I met Jess. Jess wasn't really down for like all the drinking and all the drug abuse and all that stuff. And then I happened to get hurt, and like I put two and two together. It's like, okay, like I really love this woman. I want to be with her for the rest of my life. She doesn't like the way that I'm treating my body and myself. So like this is kind of a sign to start the next chapter.
And I want to skateboard forever. Yeah. And if I trade this thing for this thing, I get the two things I want.
Exactly.
So it's kind of, yes, it's a choice, but it's kind of like a no-brainer.
Yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer, kind of just like, this is it. The chapter switch kind of like presented itself, and it was like, all right, time to go down this route. But every now and again, people will ask me like, how do I feel about it? Right. Like if I was given a chance to live that way again, would I live that way? And I would, I think that shaped the person that I am today. You know what I mean? Like I needed to go through that to get to this person that I am today. 'Cause now I'm the happiest I've been mentally, the strongest I've been physically, right? I love skateboarding just as much as I did when I was younger, maybe even more, because I don't get to do it as much as I want to because I have all these other responsibilities.
But you're still skating a couple days a week, aren't you?
Still skating a couple days a week, but as I got older, I have more responsibilities, and I think realistically, and this we could talk about it, is like it was hard at first to just accept the fact that like I'm in a different place with skateboarding now, where it's like I'm older, I have these other responsibilities, I have businesses, I have all my coaching that I do, I have a son, I have a wife, I have all these things going on that I just had to like come to terms with myself that it's like skating was like what I did when I was younger coming on up, and like that was it, that was my life. And then as all these other things started coming, my priorities sort of shifted into these other things. Like it's not that I don't want to skateboard. I skateboard a couple times a week, like you said. I still film. I still do all the stuff that I did when I was younger. Yeah. It's just, it's no longer like my number one priority, because my number one priority is my coaching. I coach thousands of people. They're looking for me to help them, reach their goals. Like that is like my main focus. And then, my family, like it's like all family, restaurants, coaching, like those are my future, like skating is what built me, and skating is what I will always be. Yeah. And like I said, I'm always forever in debt to skating. But these things that I'm doing now are my future, and they bring me just as much joy as skateboarding. Yeah. And I still get to skate, which is great, but I just had to like come into terms with it. And it's hard, for like a professional, we'll say athlete, right? It's hard to like accept the fact that it's like, okay, like you can't be all in skating only. Like you could still skate and still give it everything you got, but these other things that you're doing, these other projects are like what your future is. Yeah. And like it's time to like, you have to just realize that and like put your time towards the things that are going to be your future, going to be Rocco's future, going to, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of like where it is,
I can fully relate to that.
Yeah. You've gone through it
because I got to where I am by cooking 90 hours a week. I don't cook 90 hours a week anymore. I can't cook 90 hours a week anymore. Even if I wanted to cook 90 hours a week, we both have kids the same age. Yeah. We're both married. We both have businesses. We both have things that we do. This podcast, right? It's interesting to if you kind of look back at it, and you have to have like, that's what your teens and 20s and maybe part of your early 30s are I think are for. Yeah. Those are your formidable years. Those are the years where you need to find something and then master it, and use that mastery to sort of build upon for your 40s, 50s, and I don't know. I haven't been to either of those yet, so I don't know. But I think that I just tonight will be my last night at Shokunin.
Okay.
Well, not my last night, but my last night without missing a day.
Yeah.
In a month and a half.
Yeah.
Which it's been a while since I've worked, the line for a month and a half straight. And it's been such an awesome experience. But
you got to get back. You got to get back to it.
Get back to my current, daily responsibilities.
Exactly. And it's hard for a lot of people, especially when like that's what built you.
Yeah.
It's hard to just admit it and to move forward with it and move on to what's next, right? And really put all your time and your focus into what's next. But I think over this last year, I've kind of really honed in and kind of accepted it, and kind of really transitioned over. I have Ladder, the company that I coach for, right? That takes up like the majority of my week and my time. We have all our restaurants. We're not in there cooking every day. We're in like for most of the openings, and here and there we'll pop in, but there's a lot of work on the back end that people don't really know about, you know what I mean? So there's all of that, and then obviously, raising a child, raising a human, like that is like the biggest job, having a wife, raising a human, like that's the biggest job. It's the hardest and the most loving thing in the world, But yeah, I mean, coaching takes up so much of my time because it's, there's so much, like I was saying earlier, there's so much to learn. I have all of these people, my team that count on me, that, I'm helping them reach their lifestyle, their fitness goals, right? And helping them put on muscle, helping them burn fat, helping them get to like a healthy fat percentage, helping them get stronger, increasing their performance, letting them or like helping them approach the things that they love for many more years to come. So like with that, I have to be as educated as I possibly can be, and I have to be able to like come through for them. So this is very, you have people's lives in your hands, so you have to bring them the best stuff that you can possibly bring them in all shapes and sizes, when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to food choices, when it comes to training, how to train, form, everything. So
do you feel responsible for being inspirational?
I mean,
because your story is an inspiration. You live your life as an inspiration. I wonder if you feel responsible. Like, is that a driving motivator? You know how many times we've gone out and I'm like, yo, have a beer with me. And you're like, maybe one day. And I do it for, I say it for fun. But like, how much of the motivating factor of staying true to the course is feeling responsible to continue to inspire? Because we've talked about how, being of service is, the most rewarding thing. And you being an inspirational figure is probably the most service you can give anyone.
I appreciate that. I would say like, yes, there is that like part of me that's like, you've done this, people look up to you for doing this, and lead by example, right?
Yeah.
And I guess that sort of gives me fuel to keep on pushing harder and harder, right? Like I said, it's like we're all one big family and we all work together, right? So if people are sending me messages saying like my story inspires them, that comes back to me to be like, all right, I got to push even harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it motivates me. I don't know if I feel like I have to inspire. It's more so I feel motivated to do the best that I can do. And if I could help one person, that's enough for me. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy because that's one extra person that, feels better, looks better, and is mentally better, and that's great. Like, that's what to me, that's what it's all about, helping people.
Well, speaking of that, there was something that you mentioned earlier that I wanted to go back and actually talk with you about. It was you got you were made pro when you thought everyone was bummed on you.
Yeah.
And you touched very, very briefly. I didn't want to stop the story because you were going to the story, but you touched very briefly on what I would call feeling like you had imposter syndrome, which was like,
yeah, just a guilt, right?
You feel guilt was the word that you used, which is you felt guilty for not doing enough. I think there's a lot of people who, and I suffer from this exact same thing. I do feel that sometimes you get surprised because you think you haven't been doing enough, and then you're rewarded with something, versus fuck yeah, I did enough, and then you're not rewarded with something.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk with you about it because I feel like there's probably people at home who feel like people are bummed on them. And the approach that I want to take to this conversation is not so much about, imposter syndrome, but convincing yourself of a negative that isn't there.
Yeah.
Because we all suffer from that. It's how do we buck that feeling of like, whether it's like, it's a friend and who hasn't gotten back to you and you're like, oh, maybe they're bummed on me.
Yeah.
Maybe they're pissed at me, or, maybe it's someone from work or a boss or whatever. And you just start to feel this thing bubbling inside you saying like, man, they fucking bummed on me. And we do that to ourselves.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way to fix that, really. I feel like that's like just a natural thing. And I think I don't know what the word is, but I feel like that's just the thing that people that care and people that have feelings will feel, you know, because it's awareness of your peers and the people that you love, and like kind of thinking what you think that they think about you because of your actions, right? And I think that's just being aware. That's having feelings. I mean, you're gonna have that. I think, obviously, like personally, I think having that is kind of like sort of the butterflies in your stomach.
Yeah.
And that kind of keeps you going and kind of keeps you on track as well, right? If you can use those feelings, and maybe you are fucking up, maybe you can use those feelings and start trying to implement things to like do better for yourself, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like, and I agree with you. I think it's a very healthy thing. Well, I don't think it's healthy, but I think you can use it, you can channel it into something healthy.
Channel it into something, yeah.
And so I guess there's sort of two different views on that. One is what you just laid out, which is, you're very self-reflective. You're like, I could be doing more. But that is the mindset of someone who is successful, self-motivated, going to become the top of whatever. You're just going to, if you have that outlook. The second side of that is creating a problem in your mind that isn't actually there, right? By convincing yourself. Now for you use that as the fuel to fix your problem. And I wonder for other people, is it ever just an issue that seems to be like, man, this is, but maybe that's the answer. Maybe the answer is what you just said, which is if you're not currently using that as fuel, use that as fuel.
Yeah.
And start looking at things objectively. Actually say to yourself, am I fucking up? If the answer is yes, fix it. If the answer is no, then you can say, well, then why do I feel this way?
Yeah, and try to like really lay it out.
Yeah.
Right, and see what's going on. I feel I'm not really, I don't think I would be the one to really answer that question. So take it with a grain of salt, but that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think?
Well, I mean, sometimes I'll just put myself out there for it. I'll feel depressed, or I'll feel sad, or and like, I'll go to Margarita and be like, hey, I feel sort of depressed. She's like, why? I'm like, I don't know. Like there isn't necessarily a reason. And then I will objectively try to break down why. And sometimes it turns out to be I'm not doing enough. And then I'll have to okay, that's the reason. And then I'll have to break down, but am I doing enough? Because if I am doing enough, then shut the fuck up. Right?
What this reminds me of is Jess, sorry for interrupting, but
no.
Jess always says that like I have a type A And I feel like that's type A personality. Like, am I doing it? Like, I need to do more, you know what I mean? And I think sometimes the void of like not doing enough can actually bring you down, right?
Yes.
But sometimes you've done more than what
It's
someone
even
else.
expected.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, when you overperform for decades, performing normally feels like you're letting everyone down.
Yeah.
And that can be a depressive thought. But I think that depressive thought can happen regardless of whether you've been performing at a high level, or maybe you've never performed at a high level, but you want to perform at a high level, and that in and of itself is depressing.
Yeah.
So I think that I think everything is sort of like a math problem. You can look at it and you can go, okay, I feel depressed. Okay, that's a constant. That is there. That's a truth. Why? Now you can start to ask questions like why.
What is the core? What is the root?
And if you're objective about it, you can get to the point where you go, okay, so for me, it's like, I'm not doing enough. And then I go, but I took my daughter to school 2 times this week. I worked 60 hours. I that. Okay, so it's not that. And if it is that, then that's just because I'm human. I'll get bad thoughts. It's just what do you do with the bad thoughts? And so if I can get to a place where I realize I could be doing something better, I'll go and do that.
Yeah.
And if I get to a place where I'm like, nah, everything's good, then I'll just tell myself to shut the fuck up and stop feeling that way.
Yeah, I mean, and I like I was saying too, it's like you're human, right? It's natural. It's like you're just, you're feeling. If you have feelings, if you really care, if you are aware of people around you, like you're gonna feel that guilt from time to time, depending on like what's going on with your life, So yeah, I mean, it's just, I think it's a natural thing. I at that time I was fucking up and it didn't really help me clean up my act at that time. But it did feel,
They might have planted a seed that then sprouted 3 years later.
and I think that is a very valuable thing, and that's something that's not really talked about much. Is like, people will hit me up and be like, yo, I tried to quit drinking, I tried to quit partying, but then like I only got 3 weeks and then I fell back on. And truthfully, like I tried to go clean so many times before I actually fully committed at 28.
Yeah.
I would go like 6 months, I would go 3 months, I would film a video part and then get back off the thing. Off the wagon. But I was trying because the seed was planted and I was trying to act on it, but I didn't know how to I didn't have the tools, like Ellington said, to pull myself away from it. Now, would I have benefited if I went into like a program? Possibly, right? But for me, I didn't feel like I needed a program. I just feel like I needed something to like really show me a sign. And then, I obviously... that sign came later on in life, and
well, it's micro adjustments, right? It's very difficult to make a macro adjustment. It's very easy, and I talk with Marguerite about this often, because there'll be something I want to work on, like taking my, health into consideration and losing weight and stuff. And I'll talk about wanting to do something for a long time. And she'll be like, well, you always talk about it. And I go, yes, but this is part of like, but I'm getting like every day I am getting closer. I'm not going to just become this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to, if it's something, where she's like, hey, I don't like the way you react to these types of situations. I'll tell her, I hear you. I understand. I'm definitely going to react like this again.
But I'm working on it.
But next time I react like this, I'm going to do my best to realize I'm reacting like this.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to try to react like this less and less until I don't ever do it again.
It takes time.
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen overnight. It takes time. And it's like, you have to be willing to take that time.
And not be discouraged by the fact that you can't land a nollie crook on the very first try.
Yeah.
You might fall down. You might hurt yourself. Not, finishing quitting drinking the very first try. You might fall down. You might hurt yourself. And maybe it takes 3 months, 3 years, 30 years. But if you really want to see a change in anything, you just have to plant a seed.
Yeah, plant a seed. You have to believe in what it is you want to do.
Yeah.
And then just however long it takes, just keep on making those micro adjustments until you get to where you want to get to. And then when you get there, it's not all easy.
Yeah.
You know, like it's going to be a challenge, right? And only the strong survive, right? So
Yeah.
you want to just keep on working towards it, you know? Yeah, I think my birthday just the other day marked 12 years sober. Yeah, 28. I did the surgery, 12 years sober, no alcohol. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't tasted it or
I would say
anything.
congratulations, but it's not like that huge of a deal for you.
No, it's weird because it's like I don't even think about it
Yeah.
at all. Like it's just not part of my day anymore. Like it's been so long.
So that's what I was, sort of waiting my turn to say, which was you said something that like humans are creatures of habit, right? And so when you want to change the way you react, the thing you put in your body, whatever it is, it's very difficult to break a habit, especially if you've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
And very few 22-year-olds are like, yo, I should quit drinking. Very few. Yes, there are some. But usually you do it for a decade or more and then go, oh, now I have stuff to lose.
Yeah.
I'm trying to have a relationship. I'm trying to have a business. I'm trying to keep a job, or I'm going to have a kid or whatever. And now it's like, now you have to kick something you've been doing for a decade. And I think it is discouraging to not be able to do it first try, but you can't do anything first try.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Even old faithfuls. I don't heel flip things first try.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I've skated with you.
It's a roll of the dice. Maybe not.
Yeah, but you're very good at rolling dice then.
I've done it for a long
I know.
time. But yeah, it's true with everything. Like you could be the best at something, and even then, it's like you probably aren't going to get it first try. The percentage, right? It might be higher that you'll get it first try, but there's still a big percentage that you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
And it's just about sticking, like dial in, lock in, and then just, continue to try.
Yeah.
Try your best.
Try fall down. I mean, you're not supposed to be done. We're not a finished, sculpture.
I mean, I wish I knew moderation when I was younger, and I wish I had this.
Though?
Well, I do kind of in a way.
But
like,
don't you need to not know moderation to
learn moderation?
To not just learn moderation,
Yeah.
but to love moderation.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like what I was trying to say is like, it sucks that I have to stay away from something,
Yeah.
right? Because I've abused or, I took it too far when I was
Yeah.
younger. Not saying that I wish I can just do it in moderation, which I know I have a strong enough will.
You'd be able to.
But at this point in my life, it's like I'm not like that's done
There's
with.
just no point.
Yeah. That part of my life I had enough at that point, and like it's done with, But
Yeah.
it's like if I can give any word of advice, it's like moderation towards all things is key.
Yeah.
If you can just have power, moderation with things, not saying go drink, not saying go do this, go do that, just moderation when you approach things, right? Like
Yeah.
obviously like if it's a passion and you want to get really good at doing something, but like when it comes down to things that can, affect your health or, your well-being, like moderation might be the best route, like just don't get too carried away.
Well, literally with anything, you have to moderate how much you skateboard or your body will die.
Oh yeah. That's
Right.
that's
you
why
have to
I
moderate how much you run. You have to moderate anything you do. You have to moderate. Since we're on the subject of inspiring or teaching or whatever, we are we're here at the holidays, and I'm sure a lot of people who are listening, everyone makes their New Year's resolutions.
Yep.
And wanted to hear from you some advice, some thoughts on for people at home who either let's keep it to, or not keep it to, but let's focus on people at home who want to make a change in terms of their health, their wellness, their well-being, their physical fitness, and they're like, all right, this year I'm finally going to start.
Yeah, I mean, I always say start slow. I think we've gone through it a few times, right? If you want to start like a workout routine, I always say start slow. Do what you can do to stimulate, avoid like annihilating yourself and getting like crazy super duper sore, so you can create a routine, because you want to create a routine of these like healthy lifestyle choices, right? A routine of like what you eat, cleaner eating, a routine of training, training too, you know, follow a program. Like my program I have on the app, Ladder app, it's like best way. You don't need to think of anything. You're not doing random workouts on YouTube that your favorite, you know, influencer is doing. Like, you're following a plan that is based on proven principles to drive progress, right? So you just follow that. You press play. There's videos on the screen. I'm in your ear telling you what to do, what to focus on. If you don't know how to train at all, this is the best entry, right? And then I go in there every single day, every single week, and I like tell you kind of what the purpose is, and also like how to, because you can be a beginner and be on my program, and you could be an elite athlete and be on my program. The only difference is the intensity that you're going to push at, and how many workouts you do a week, how heavy you're going, how many reps you go. Like, that's the difference. So it's like, Jess is more, you know, she works out, but not as often as me. I've been working out forever, you know? So it's like, she does my program and she's probably more towards a beginner level. I'll do the same workout and both of us are out of breath, where like we get a great pump, we get a great workout. And it's,
but you're lifting 10 times what she's lifting.
We just have a different, 10, I don't know how many times, but it's just different intensity, right? Different volumes. Like, I'm going to take my sets like way deep into the pain cave, like where I'm probably not going to get up from that last rep, or like right before. Like, I always say, take your sets like right before you fail. So don't take that last rep where you're just like struggling and it doesn't go up. Like, stop when you expect that next rep is not coming up, you know, just to maximize like your results from it. But yeah, back to it. Follow a plan. You can follow mine if you like. And then also with food, it's like, you just little by little, micro adjustments. Like, if you want to change your food, like, just focus on whole foods. That's going to be the best for you. Keep processed stuff like low to a minimum. If you're trying to burn fat, right? You want to eat a little bit less than you burn in a day. So this can be as easy as just leaving processed foods out of your diet and alcohol, and just focusing on whole foods, like eating more lean meats like chicken and stuff. And then for your veggies, like, I would even say put rice to the side if you're trying to lose weight, and then just eat like green veggies, broccoli, kale, like salads, fruits. Like, these things, they're very low caloric, but like they have a lot of density. So you can eat so much broccoli and like fill yourself up sick, and you've only had like 10 carbs with like 50 calories, as long as you don't like pour
you're
a
getting
ton
a lot of
of
vitamins and minerals,
fiber. You're getting all the good stuff that you need, and you're filling up your belly, so you're not hungry later on, right? So that's the key, is like eating things that are high density, low caloric. So vegetables, fruits, basic meats, chicken, fish, you know, beef, eating those things, because these things are going to keep you full for longer. So then you're not going to overeat, because processed foods are like so high in calories, and it's like just for a little, like a tortilla is like 150 calories. It's like this big and it's this thin, you know what I mean? And you're going to down, like, you double up the tortilla,
so
give me some meat in there,
plus the meat, and you're going to have 5 tacos.
You're going to, exactly. So it's like, that's like how, you know, if you can't lose weight, that's kind of one of the reasons why you're not losing weight, you know? And it's just like, again, just whole foods, vegetables, fruits, meats, focus on that, and then implement it little by little, because the 80-20 rule, right? 80% you implement all these things, fitness, you implement the food, and then the other 20%, enjoy yourself. Like, have a good time, right? Like, it's not fun if you're not having fun. So have a good time, and like, don't be so hard on yourself, you know? And if you need help, you know where to find me.
So I've been looking forward to this question the whole time.
Okay.
So 10 years from now.
Oh, sick. Let's go.
What does your life look like? Yeah.
It's hard
because I'm
because
probably going to be involved in it. So I'm curious what does that look like?
It's crazy because like I've heard everybody's because we asked the question to
Yeah.
everybody, you know? So it's like there are a bunch that I like. I think for me, 10 years from now, Rocco will be 13, 14. Sheesh. I think I'm very happy with life. I don't focus on negatives. Obviously, there's ups and downs always. I focus on positives. And like right now I'm like the happiest I've ever been in life. And I think truthfully, if life just keeps going the way it is right now, I would be stoked in 10 years.
Just
right?
that trajectory of like, you don't exactly know what's going to come next, but we're going in the right direction.
Exactly. Like I'm very happy and I just want it to keep going. Like I just want to keep riding that wave. And I want to motivate and inspire as many as I can. I want to help as many as I can with their lifestyle and fitness goals. I want Rocco to be strong and happy and just a positive, confident kid at that point. You know, I want NADC Burger to be explosive and big, you know. I want the best for everybody. And I think, you know, I just want it to keep going, you know, just keep going the way that it's going. And sure, there's going to be ups and downs, but I just want, this life is great. You know, I just want, and I always tell people, it's like, focus on the positive. Like, don't focus on the negative. No matter how many bad things are happening, there's like way more positive things that are happening in your life. And if you focus on those positive things, you'll be happy. And I think I just want to continue that.
Yeah. And life does have ups and downs, right? There's always going to be negative things that occur.
Yeah.
I mean, you take a lot of measures to mitigate potential negativity, which is a whole other podcast.
I try.
But like, you know, just to piggyback off what you're saying, don't get brought down by the fact that like negative things happen, you know, because if we look back between what I talked about last week, what we talked about today, all of the most negative things were the fork in the road was crashing headfirst into a wall or into the ground, right? And that's how that fork appeared. And without that fork, you wouldn't be where you are today, which is, as you said, is the happiest you've ever been.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's very easy to look at a negative that's currently in front of you and be like, this sucks or whatever. But I feel like at least the way that I look at bad, I deal with a lot of bad.
For sure.
I deal with a lot of bad stuff. I'm frustrated quite often.
Aren't we all, right?
But I now, and maybe we call it a tool or whatever, or just experience, can look at it and go, all right, this is fucking horrible. But I know from experience that this feeling does lead to a place of light.
Yeah.
I never know where the light is going to come from. I don't know how, but I know that it does. And so I can imagine for people at home who have not yet experienced the darkness turning into light over and over and over and over again, it could sound, you know, a little bit difficult to have faith, but that's also why I fucking tattooed faith on me, because I had trouble having faith. And so, you know,
just keep on pushing.
That's it.
Just keep pushing, and the positivity will come your way, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think that's the perfect line to leave it at.
Yeah, man.
Keep pushing, and the positivity and the brightness will come your way.
I love that.
Love you, brother.
Yeah, brother. Love you, man.
Thank you for being here, for coming on.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you're an inspiration to everyone, so
thank you, man. I appreciate it. We got to do this again soon.
I think we'll do it next week.
Let's go.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Hit subscribe now if you want to follow along. We have some awesome guests lined up that we sit down with. Make sure you follow the Not a Damn Chance podcast on socials at NADC Podcast. We'll see you next week.